Hi guys! Last week I was on a business mastermind course and we had a guest speaker who was talking to us about business, but basically about life and how to create what we call like a congruent life where everything ties in together. And he put it into four parts. So there was obviously business, but a business won't work unless you focus on your mindset, on your body and your health, and on your relationships. And it was a really fascinating day. We kind of talked about how working hard on our family and friends and the relationships we have with our colleagues can tie in with our health, and our health helps our mindset, and our mindset and all of these things help us perform well in our business. And during the day we got to the point where we were talking about productivity. How do we fit all these things in? And you may have heard this story before. I've heard it a few times in different contexts, but there was the story where a professor was talking to his students and he said, well, look at this beaker filled with big rocks. Is it full? And the student said, yep, it's pretty full. And then he got out another beaker and started pouring in little pebbles. And despite the big rocks, there was still space for the pebbles. And now he asked his students, is the glass full? And they said, well, yes. And then he got out another glass and started pouring sand into the glass and filled in all of the little gaps. And he said, now is the glass full? And the student said, well, yeah, now it's definitely full. And then he got out a glass of water and poured in the water and really filled it up. And the moral of the story is, if you did that the other way around, if you put the water and the sand and the pebbles in first, you'd never have space for the big rocks. And the big rocks are obviously the metaphor for the exercise, the mindset work, the meditation, doing your big jobs, your scary jobs in your business first, and or in your day first. Get those out of the way, and that helps you become more productive, more happy, and more empowered in your life. So I got thinking, and I have days like this. I have days where I get my exercise done. I kind of come in and I do my big plans for the business. I get those out of the way. And I always feel better for them. There's never a day where I do the big rocks first and I think it's a bad day. Whereas if I come in and I just do admin and I mess around, I find myself looking through Facebook and Instagram, and then the big rocks that I know need to get done, they get kind of pushed to the end of the day, and then as the metaphor shows, they never actually get done. Even though I went for the instant gratification of, say, scrolling through Facebook, I get to the end of the day and don't feel happy. So luckily, the business lecturer that was teaching us, Andrew Silito, he's also got a degree in sports science. And that psychology background got me thinking, I've got a good opportunity here to ask him a question. I know that when I live a day like this, I feel better for it. Why don't I do that every day? And this can be applied to anything. It can be applied to diet. You know what a good diet is. Why don't you eat that every day? You feel better for it. You know what exercise is. Why don't you do it every day? You know you feel better for it. So we know what's good for us, yet it's human nature not to do that all the time. Why is that? I've never known the answer. And thankfully, his psychology background did come in handy. He told me. And it's so simple, but it was a real penny drop moment for me. The reason we don't do these things every day is down to how our brain and how our thoughts evolved. Now, from an evolutionary perspective, we evolved in a very dangerous world. There were predators out who could kill us. We could eat things that were poisonous. We could starve. We may not have water. If we got kicked out of our tribe because of the interactions with fellow tribe members, that would be a certain death. We relied on our tribe to keep us alive, and everyone have a job in the tribe. So from an evolutionary perspective, our brain is hardwired to prioritize looking for dangerous things. So if we link this to, say, a business, if there are some marketing things that I think will help us in the long run, it's actually quite scary to do some of those things. You're putting yourself out there into the world. And what if that backfires and the deep evolutionary part of the brain says, I might get kicked out of my tribe, that's a certain death. And when actually obviously that's not true, nothing will happen, no one will notice. But the fear part of your brain kicks in and says, it's a bit scary, I might get kicked out of my tribe if I do that, I'm not going to do it. I'll scroll through Facebook, that's less scary. Now, the diet and the exercise, because the point of this is to try and help you become healthier, you know what good exercise looks like, but actually it's hard work, isn't it? And that again, deep part of your brain that says that's hard work, I'm not going to do that, that kicks in. And same with diet. The instant gratification of eating sugary foods, from an evolutionary perspective, sugar is very hard to come by. So our brain actually makes us love sugar so that we put in extra effort to go and get it. The problem is now sugar is on every corner shop, and we can buy it anywhere and whenever in the supermarket. So now that I know that the reason we don't live our day kind of exercising, eating well, doing the things in our work and our business that will help drive us forwards, is actually just comes down to fear, which is an evolutionary thing but is no longer really relevant in the modern world. I find that helpful. And I can, whenever I'm finding myself procrastinating over these things, I can kind of tell myself, well, actually, I don't need to give in to it. I don't have those fears anymore. So I hope that long story was helpful for you, and you can apply it to the things that these big rocks that maybe you procrastinate over, and ask yourself, is there a reason I'm procrastinating? Is it because of a deep-rooted fear that isn't actually valid? Because evolutionary psychology suggests that might be the case. So hope that helped. If you got any comments about the things that maybe you're procrastinating over, the big rocks you struggle with, just post below and maybe we can help.